Hello all, I am the Holland Phantom, and for today's video we're going to be having a live battle from the 2012 format. On one side, we've got the Darkrai deck as used by Igor Costa, the world champion of the Masters Division of the 2012 World Championships, going up against the Eelektrik deck as used by Chase Moloney, the world champion of the Senior Division. The Darkrai deck is going to be focused on powering up a Darkrai as quickly as possible to then spread damage to the opponent's active Pokemon and one of their benched Pokemon with the Night Sphere attack, while Terrakion and Mewtwo are going to be used as powerful backup attackers that can be quickly powered up by Shaman. And the Eelektrik deck is going to be focused on using Eelektrik's Dynamotor ability to power up attackers on their side of the field, like Mewtwo EX, Zekrom, and their own Mewtwo to counter opposing Mewtwo. So we'll see which of these two decks can make the victory today. But before we begin, I'd like to highlight our fan picks for the week, so a big thank you to Discord users Echo and Hyric for sending in their Pokemon pictures. And if you'd like to have your Pokemon pictures featured as well, please be sure to join our Discord, which I'll link in the description below. And like always, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel and to my Twitter account, at Holland_Phantom, so you don't miss out on any new Pokemon TCG content. And now with that out of the way, let's get into the battle! And here we go, the battle has started, with both players flipping over their starting Pokemon. On the Darkrai side, we've got Darkrai EX as the active Pokemon, and on the Eelektrik side, we've got Smeargle as the active Pokemon. The Eelektrik side is going first, benching 2 Tynamo, and now they're going to be activating their Stadium card, Sky Arrow Bridge, to reduce the retreat cost of all basic Pokemon by 1. And then we see Smeargle's Poke Power activating Portrait to look at the opponent's hand, and the player can choose any supporter card they find there to use it as the effect of Smeargle's ability. So they're going to be choosing their opponent's Professor Oak's New Theory to shuffle away their hand and then draw 6 brand new cards. So there we see the 6 new cards being drawn, and because this was an ability, the player still has access to their own supporter for the turn. Okay, there we see the item card Level Ball to search the deck for any Pokemon with 90 HP or fewer. So they're going to be choosing a 3rd Tynamo to place onto the bench, and Dynamo's going to be the main energy accelerator once it evolves into Eelektrik. Okay, there we see another Professor Oak's New Theory. It's going to be their actual supporter for the turn, once again shuffling away their hand to draw 6 brand new cards. So let's see if they have access to another basic Pokemon or any energy cards to attach for the turn. Okay, cards were drawn, let's see what they can do. Actually, nothing else is played, they're going to be passing the turn. Now over to the Darkrai side's first turn, starting off by attaching a Darkness energy to their active Pokemon, followed by Professor Oak's New Theory to shuffle away their hand, draw 6 brand new cards. Same as their opponent just played on the previous turn. There we see the cards being drawn. So let's see what else they can do. Any item cards or more bench Pokemon to play? Actually, nothing else is played. So turn quickly passes back over to the Eelektrik side. They're going to be starting off by using Portrait once again. Looking at their opponent's hand, they only have one supporter. It's going to be the Professor Oak's New Theory once again. To shuffle the player's hand away, drawing another 6 cards. So it looks like that hand that they got at the previous turn was not very good because it didn't play any cards from it. Okay, they're going to be searching for some more Pokemon or evolutions to put down. And speaking of which, there we see the Mewtwo EX coming down with the Lightning Energy. Mewtwo does need at least 2 colorless energies to start using its X-Ball attack. Okay, now they're going to be using their own supporter card. So it's going to be their second turn, but their 4th Professor Oak's New Theory so far. So a lot of supporters being played. Or rather, the same supporter being played a bunch of times. Okay, did they get any evolutions yet? They have 3 Tynamo, all ready to evolve this turn. Not yet, but there we see Junk Arm discarding 2 lightning energies from the hand for any item card from the discard pile, so they're going to be choosing the Level Ball. Once again, searching the deck, so this should be the first Eelektrik coming down. And yes, it is. One of the Tynamo does evolve, giving access giving the player access to the Dynamotor ability. Getting a lightning energy back from the discard pile onto one of their benched Pokemon. There we see the ability activating, getting a lightning energy onto the Mewtwo, it looks like. So this Mewtwo is now fully powered up to use its first attack, X-Ball, which deals 20 damage times the number of energy on Mewtwo and the opposing active Pokemon. Okay, but no attack is going to be coming through. Turn passes, and Darkrai is going to be getting a second Darkness energy. It does need at least 3 energy to start using its Night Sphere attack. And then we see the Professor Oak's New Theory again. So let's see what they get. They're going to be searching for some more basic Pokemon to place onto their bench, because so far they've only got the 1. Did they get anything else yet? Still nothing! Once again, the turn passes. Okay, back over to the Eelektrik side. There we see Portrait, once again looking at their opponent's hand. Okay, they have Mewtwo, a couple of energy, and some trainer cards, but no supporters to play. Okay, now the Eelektrik player is going to be using a dual ball, flipping 2 coins. And it looks like one of them is going to be a heads, so the player can search their deck for one basic Pokemon to add to their hand. And they're going to be choosing a Zekrom. It's going to be a really powerful attacker that only gives up one prize upon knockout. So let's see where the Dynamotor is going to be placing lightning energy for the turn. Okay, first there we see the Professor Juniper discarding the player's hand to draw 7 brand new cards. Still digging through the deck for another Eelektrik to evolve one of their Dynamo. Okay, there we see the Dynamotor getting lightning energy. Now is it going to go onto the Mewtwo or the Zekrom? Okay, it's going to be going onto the Zekrom now. It needs 3 energy to be fully powered up to use its Bolt Strike attack. There we see the manual attachment for the turn also onto the Zekrom. It just needs 1 more energy. And now it looks like the Mewtwo is finally going to be jumping into the active spot to deal some damage. And X-Ball is going to be hitting for, let's see, it's 80 damage for the 4 Pokemon between Mewtwo and Darkrai. Although Darkrai is resistant to Psychic-type Pokemon, so it only takes 60 damage total, down to 120 HP. Okay, on the other side, there we see Mewtwo finally coming down, which then gets double colorless energy. And then we see the random receiver revealing cards off the top of the deck until the player reveals a supporter card. It's going to be the Professor Oak's new Theory, which they're immediately going to be activating. Once again, shuffling away their hand, and then drawing 6 new cards. So it is possible that their Mewtwo EX can take the KO against their opponent's Mewtwo if they have at least 1 more energy card or a plus power. Because right now it only hits for 160 damage. Okay, there we see an Ultra Ball, discarding a Dark Patch and a Darkness Energy for any Pokemon from the deck. And what's it going to be? Okay, it's going to be the Shaman. And with Shaman Celebration Wind, they can move an energy off the Darkrai onto the active Mewtwo. And because both active Mewtwo will be having a total of 5 energy between them, the X-Ball is going to be hitting for 200 damage. More than enough for the one-hit KO. There we see the Dark Patch getting an energy from the discard pile onto the Darkrai. And there's Shaman coming down to activate the Celebration Wind, moving one of those energy onto the Mewtwo. And this should be the first KO of the game. There's the attack. X-Ball taking the KO against the opponent's Mewtwo to take the first 2 prizes. And our Darkrai is in the lead. On the Electric side, there we see the Smeargle coming back into the active spot. Once again, it's ready to use its Portrait ability. And speaking of, there it is. Okay, but once again, there's no supporter in their opponent's hand, so they can't use anything. There we see one Dynamotor being activated, getting a discarded lightning energy onto the Zekrom. It is now fully powered up to use its Bolt Strike attack to hit for 120 damage. And there we see a Pokemon Catcher, targeting down their opponent's Darkrai to bring back into the active spot, and it's down to exactly 120 HP left. Just enough for the KO from the Zekrom. Also, for anybody wondering why this Pokemon Catcher was immediately effective, this is pre-errata Pokemon Catcher, so it does not require a coin flip. Okay, now the player's going to be activating N to shuffle away their, actually both players' hands, and drawing 1 card for each of the remaining prizes, so Darkrai draws 4, and Eelektrik draws 6. There's the attack, Bolt Strike, taking the KO against Darkrai, and also Zekrom hits itself for 40 damage recoil, but now both sides are tied at 4 prizes remaining apiece. Okay, on the other side, the Mewtwo comes back into the active spot. It should be easily able to take the KO against Zekrom, but first there we see another Darkrai coming down to the bench, and there we see a Dark Patch, getting a discarded energy onto the new Darkrai. It still needs 2 more energy to be fully powered up. Okay, there we see a Prism Energy as a manual attachment, also coming down to the Darkrai, and there we see the Professor Juniper, discarding the player's hand to draw 7 brand new cards. So that N from the previous turn didn't really do a whole lot to slow them down. And then we see the Super Scoop Up. Use a coin flip to see if it works. Okay, it's off camera. Okay, but it is going to be a heads to pick up the Shaman back into the player's hand, so they can once again use a Celebration Wind to move energy off Mewtwo onto Darkrai. And it looks like that's going to be the play. The Darkrai moves into the active spot, and then we see the Shaman coming down, activating Celebration Wind, and then moving the Darkness energy off of Mewtwo onto Darkrai. And just like that, in a single turn, it is fully powered up and ready to go. There's the attack, Night Spear, taking the KO against Zekrom, and also hitting one of the Dynamo for 30 damage. Now Darkrai takes 1 more prize. They are up 3 prizes remaining to 4. There we see the Smeargle coming back up into the active spot. And finally, a second Eelektrik comes down, evolving the damaged Dynamo, and there we see the Portrait. Okay, just 1 supporter in the opponent's hand, another Professor Oak's new Theory, to shuffle away the player's hand, drawing another hand of 6. So let's see what they get. They can take another 2 prizes if they get, let's see, a Mewtwo and a Pokemon Catcher to bring up their opponent's Mewtwo. Okay, there we see the Mewtwo coming down. They might actually have it. There we see 2 Dynamotor, getting 2 discarded energy onto the new Mewtwo. Actually, no, hold on, it still needs 1 more energy or a plus power for the KO. There we see Junk Arm, discarding another Junk Arm and a Lightning Energy for the Pokemon Catcher. Okay, yeah, it does look like they pulled it off. They have the combo. So once again, it's going to be Mewtwo versus Mewtwo. This is why the 2012 Worlds format is called the Mewtwo Wars format, because a lot of this was going on back then. And there's the plus power. Okay, and there's the attack X-Ball taking the KO against the Darkrai side's Mewtwo, taking 2 more prizes. And now the lead is once again in the Electric side. 2 prizes remaining to 3. Okay, Darkrai comes back up. The player uses their Professor Oak's new theory to shuffle away their hand, drawing 6 new cards. So the Electric player still has to take 2 more prizes to win the game. So they have to take the KO against his Darkrai, because taking the KO against Shaman will only give up 1 prize. Okay, now Darkrai is going to be getting an Eevee as their tool card, reducing the damage he takes by 20. And there's the attack Night Spear, hitting the Mewtwo for 90 damage and the Electric for another 30. So Electric is down to just 30 HP remaining now. So another Night Spear into this Mewtwo, and the Electric will take the final 3 prizes to win the game. So let's see what the Electric player can do. Another Mewtwo comes down, gets a double colorless energy. And there we see both of the Dynamotors getting 2 lightning energies onto the second Mewtwo. So it looks like the player's going to be going all in on this second Mewtwo to win the game. And there's Professor Juniper to discard their hand, drawing 7 brand new cards. And they just have to hope that their opponent doesn't have a Pokemon Catcher to bring up the damaged Mewtwo. Okay, the active one's going to be discarding 1 energy to pay the retreat cost, thanks to the Sky Arrow Bridge, bringing up the brand new Mewtwo now. So between Mewtwo and Darkrai, let's see, it's a total of 7 energy, hitting for 140 damage, and then minus 20 for resistance, minus 20 for Eevee. So X-Ball hits for 100 damage. It's still going to be a 2-hit KO. Okay, now over to the Darkrai side's turn. Let's see what they can do. Okay, they have the Pokemon Catcher to bring up the damaged Mewtwo on the bench, and this is going to be the game. This Night Spear can take the final 2 KOs to take their last 3 prizes. Yeah, there's the attack. Night Spear taking the KO against Mewtwo and Electric. There's all that damage coming down. Both of the Pokemon are KO'd, taking the final 3 prize cards. And there's the handshake. Darkrai is your winner. So what did you guys think of that battle? Let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video to help the channel grow and reach new viewers. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, this is the Holland Phantom logging out.